There's a moment when everything in you wants to break. Not because you're weak, but because you've been holding the line for too long. Your heart beats like a war drum, and your mind screams for relief. You're standing in the fire, and every part of your old self is begging to be spared. But this isn't punishment. This is your test. And if you don't pass it, you stay stuck forever. You're not here by accident. You're here because you prayed for change. And when you prayed for change, you triggered the test, because transformation doesn't come wrapped in comfort. It comes with confrontation, with yourself, with your patterns, with the lies you've been telling about who you are. This is the edge of who you were, and you can't fake your way past it. You can either pass this test, or stay chained to a version of you that was never meant to last. Hear this: you are not being punished. You are being summoned to rise, summoned to let go of the identity that settled, the mindset that delayed, the habits that disguised fear as logic. The test isn't outside of you. It's not the job, not the bank account, not the betrayal. The test is inside you. Will you believe bigger or shrink smaller? There is no middle ground anymore. Everything that used to work for the smaller version of you no longer fits, like armor on a growing giant. It cracks. The people who tolerated your mediocrity, they fall off. The routines that kept you emotionally numb, they collapse. The version of you that negotiated with fear, it dies here. You can't drag your old self into a new season. It's not a transition, it's a death. And the test is whether you'll bury it or resuscitate it out of habit. Don't be surprised if everything feels like it's falling apart. It's not falling apart. It's being stripped down. The universe is ruthless with dead weight, and it will not let you carry weakness into destiny. You said you wanted next level, so life gave you a test, and this test is exposing everything that doesn't belong. This is the invitation, but only the version of you that's willing to burn the excuses will make it through. You don't get to tiptoe into transformation. You leap, or you stay behind. So let me ask you this: who are you becoming? Not who you've been, not what they called you, not what you failed at. Who are you deciding to be? Because every time you hesitate, you're giving power to your old self. Every time you delay, you're voting for stagnation. Every time you doubt, you're anchoring the same limitations you were born to break. You are being tested to prove one thing: can you hold the identity of your future before it's visible? Or do you only believe in what you can touch? Because if so, you're not ready. You're still living by sight, not by vision. Still letting circumstances control character. Still letting fear narrate your story. Burn that script. This test isn't about outcomes. It's about ownership. Can you own a new standard before the world hands you confirmation? You want miracles, but do you have mindset? You want doors to open, but do you walk like they already did? You want change, but are you loyal to the change? Don't just want it, become it. Move like it. Speak like it. Discipline yourself like it. Because the test you're facing isn't looking for potential, it's looking for proof, and proof looks like consistency when it's hard. It looks like faith when nothing makes sense. It looks like getting back up when your ego is bleeding. Nobody's coming to save you. Not because you're forgotten, but because you're being forged. This is divine pressure, the kind that creates diamonds or dust, and the choice is you. Let that land. There will be days when everything in you screams to go back, to the familiar pain, to the predictable disappointment, to the numb survival that required no courage. But every time you go back, you betray the version of you that's waiting ahead. You are being watched, not by people, but by your future, and your future is saying, prove it. Prove you're serious. Prove you're done with excuses. Prove you'll keep walking when nobody's clapping. This isn't about hype. It's about rewiring from the inside out. Because until you change how you see yourself, nothing changes. Your relationships will mirror your self-worth. Your finances will mirror your belief ceiling. Your results will reflect your rituals. It's not magic, it's alignment. And right now, the test is asking, will you align with identity or emotion? Because your emotions are temporary, but identity is eternal. Stop waiting for motivation. You don't need to feel like it. You need to become it. Feelings follow actions. Identity follows repetition. But that comes later. Right now, this is your line in the sand. This is the mental reset, where you stop negotiating with the old you, where you stop explaining your limits, where you stop playing small just to make others comfortable. You weren't designed to blend in. You were made to break patterns, to disrupt the cycle, to build legacy out of chaos, but not if you tap out every time it gets hard. Pain is part of the price. Confusion is part of the course. Delay is part of the design, but none of it disqualifies you, unless you quit. So no, this isn't the end. This is the test, and if you pass it, you unlock power. You access momentum. You shift universes with a single decision, not a perfect plan. A decision to go all in, to speak differently, to think higher, to move like the version of you who doesn't ask for permission anymore. You know who that is. You've seen glimpses. That version of you shows up when nobody's watching, when you dream and don't censor, when you imagine without limits. That version is real, and this test is the gate. Don't fail it with excuses. Don't fumble it with doubt. Don't abandon it because comfort came knocking. Stand up. You've been through too much to give up now. You've cried too many nights to stay average. You've survived too much pain to play it safe. This is the moment. This is the reset. Say it out loud. I'm not going back. I'm not shrinking. I'm not hesitating. I rise now. I break through now. I rebuild now. I walk like it's already done. Let the old me die, because the new me doesn't flinch, doesn't beg, doesn't wait. I don't hesitate. I build. I become. The subconscious is not loyal to truth. It is loyal to repetition. It does not ask, is this belief empowering? It only asks, have I heard this enough to accept it as real? Understand this, and your life changes. Ignore this, and you live on autopilot, trapped by thoughts you never chose. You've been programmed, not by intention, but by exposure. Your environment spoke. Your parents modeled. Your teachers hinted. Your culture whispered. And your subconscious recorded it all. It built a blueprint, a silent script, one that decides how far you rise and how fast you sabotage it. That's not fate. That's a loop, and loops can be broken. This is the law. What is spoken often becomes internal law, and what becomes law becomes your limit. You keep calling it personality, but it's programming. You say, that's just the way I am. But it's not. It's the way you were told to be, and never questioned. So now the real work begins. You must rewire, not just once, not with hype, but with precision. Auto-suggestion, the conscious act of planting identity into your subconscious, daily, repeatedly, until it overrides every small thought that ever tried to hold you down. Say this clearly. I do not chase. I command. I do not beg. I attract. I do not hope. I decide. Your subconscious doesn't argue. It obeys. It listens to the tone of repetition. It listens to what you say when you're tired, when you're quiet, when you're frustrated. That's the real programming, and that's where you go to work. Napoleon Hill knew it. When he wrote Think and Grow Rich, he didn't say try harder. He said repeat louder. Repetition of belief creates conviction. Conviction builds action, and action reshapes reality. Every titan you admire mastered this. Edison, he failed over 1,000 times and kept going because his belief was pre-installed. He didn't hope he'd succeed. He told his mind, I will, and his mind made it real. Henry Ford, they called him crazy when he demanded a V8 engine that engineers said couldn't be built. He told them, build it anyway. Why? Because his subconscious was trained to obey identity, not odds. Andrew Carnegie, he hired Napoleon Hill to extract the formula of mental transformation, not because it was nice, because it was necessary. He knew the power of mental command. So let me ask you, what commands are you giving your mind right now? Are you saying, I'm not ready, I'm not good enough, it's too late for me? Then your mind believes you, and it builds your life to reflect that. But if you begin saying, I am built for this, I live, I rise, I win, then your mind shifts, it adapts, it recruits energy and resources to match your command. Don't wait until you feel it. Feelings come last, commands come first. Your internal dialogue is a spell. Speak weak words and you curse your life. Speak power and you unlock new dimensions. This is how the subconscious works. It doesn't sleep. It doesn't judge. It builds your life from what it hears most, and most of what it hears is you. Your voice is the architect of your future, and every word you repeat is a brick in that foundation. So speak like you're building an empire, not escaping a failure. Speak like your next level is listening, because it is. Here's what they won't tell you. You can reprogram your destiny in 30 days of focused identity rewiring, but most never make it past 3. They try once, don't feel it, and retreat. They say, it's not working. But that's not how this works. Your old programming has been on repeat for years. You must overwhelm it. Saturate your mind with the new until the old has no oxygen left. That means every morning, you speak, not passively, powerfully. You look in the mirror and declare, I am the exception. I break patterns. I create wealth. I walk in power. You do this when it's awkward, when you don't believe it yet, when your voice trembles, you speak louder. Because what you say consistently, your mind eventually believes. Not because it's magic, because it's mechanical. The subconscious is a servant. You are the master. But only if you take the throne. Repetition is the crown. Autosuggestion is the sword. You must fight for your future at the level of language. Speak with conviction, not questions, statements. Not I wish, say I am. I have. I become. This is how identity is installed, not through wishing, through repetition. Mental commands change chemical reactions. They shift posture. They shift energy. They shift decisions. You'll start walking different, talking different, showing up like it's already done. And that's when people will notice. They'll ask what changed, but you won't have to answer. They'll see it, because the mind that believes differently moves differently. You won't need permission. You won't need validation, because your subconscious will already be aligned with your outcome. Say this now. My mind is not my enemy. My mind is my engine. I do not wait for proof. I walk like proof. And when doubt tries to creep back in, you answer it with repetition. When fear rises, you drown it in declaration. When the old voice whispers, you shout the new one louder. You are in control. Always have been. You just forgot your authority. Take it back and say this daily. I am chosen. I am capable. I am called. I don't chase identity. I speak it into reality. You are not a prisoner of your past. You are the architect of your mind, and your future is waiting for you to install the command that unlocks it. This is the new standard. Every morning, you declare. Every night, you affirm. Every challenge, you reassert. I don't flinch. I don't fold. I don't fear. Say it loud and move like it's done. You cannot serve 2 identities. One must die. And the one that dies is the one you stop feeding. Because identity is not just belief, it's commitment. And commitment means one thing: no way back. If you keep the back door open, you'll use it. If you give yourself options, you'll negotiate with weakness. And if you let fear vote, it will always elect hesitation. Burn the bridge. That's how transformation works. Not with gentle transitions, with violent decisions. You cannot be both lion and sheep. You cannot think like the old you and lead like the new you. One of them must go. You've made decisions before, but you left the exit route intact. This time it's different. This time you destroy the exit. You lock the gate. You burn the fallback plan, because fallback is where your greatness goes to die. You think people fail because they didn't try hard enough. Wrong. They fail because they never decided. They dipped their toe in the water but never jumped. They flirted with change, but never married it. They said they wanted more, but kept sleeping with their excuses. Not you. Not anymore. From this moment forward, your life runs on a binary law. You're either all in or you're out. There is no halfway. Say it with fire. I've already decided. That's it. That's the difference between the ones who rise and the ones who talk. Decision is a frequency, and once you tune to it, everything shifts. Your energy sharpens. Your language tightens. Your circle changes. And the universe starts rearranging itself to match the new you. but it won't do it while you're indecisive. Indecision is resistance in disguise, and resistance delays your destiny. You don't need another sign. You don't need another opinion. You don't need more time. You need to close the door behind you and walk like you never had another option. That's how Cortez conquered the land. He didn't just show up. He burned the ships. No retreat, no return, just forward, or die trying. And death isn't always physical. Sometimes it's the death of pride, the death of comfort, the death of laziness. But what's reborn? Power, fire, destiny. You must stop negotiating with the version of you that settles. Kill it, because it's either you or it. And until you choose, you suffer. You suffer in confusion. You suffer in hesitation. You suffer in the middle. But there is no glory in the middle. No power, no momentum. Just mental warfare and wasted time. You know what's worse than failing? Dragging your potential through another year of half-effort. Decide. Like Lincoln decided. A house divided against itself cannot stand. He wasn't just talking politics. He was talking you. You cannot be divided and powerful. You cannot doubt and dominate. At some point, you must declare war on the part of you that keeps backing down, because every delay is a vote for the lesser version of you. And you're not here for average. You're here to shatter ceilings. But that only happens after the bridge is gone. After you remove maybe from your vocabulary. After you say it loud. I've already decided. You're not hoping. You're not waiting. You've decided. There's a power that follows total commitment. A storm that begins to serve you. Doors that refuse to open before swing wide. Not because you're lucky, because you're aligned. You're finally speaking in the language of leaders. And leaders don't backtrack. They don't waver. They don't explain themselves to people still negotiating with their own potential. You are not for everyone. You are for elevation. And elevation costs comfort. But what you get in return is clarity, certainty, conviction. You will know who you are. And when you know who you are, you stop entertaining confusion. Stop talking to the old version. It had its chance. It wasted time. It played small. And now it's fired. You're not debating destiny anymore. You're executing it. So write the plan. Make the call. Take the leap. And stop looking back like you left something valuable behind. You didn't. The only thing behind you is delay and disappointment. But ahead, that's where the power lives. Say it again. I've already decided. You don't have to explain it. Not to family. Not to friends. Not to the voice in your head that still sounds like fear. Fear has no seat at your table anymore. You're feeding faith now. You're nourishing grit now. You're breathing discipline now. This is what happens when you burn the bridge. You rise faster. You think clearer. You act without hesitation. Because there's no backspace on destiny. Only forward. Only fire. Only now. This is the decision loop. Every day you speak it. Every day you repeat it. Every day you act like there's no other outcome. That's the vibration that creates momentum. That's the mindset that bends reality. That's the identity that breaks patterns and builds legacy. You want miracles? Start with a decision. A final one. One that makes the old life impossible. Say it loud, like your future depends on it. Because it does. I've already decided. I don't look back. I don't apologize. I don't explain. I move. I build. I conquer. And when the tests come, and they will, you won't flinch. Because the decision was made long before the test arrived. Burn the bridge. Step forward. And don't you dare turn around. You become like the minds you align with. Not over years. In weeks. Sometimes days. Because identity is contagious. And every conversation is a transaction. You're either gaining power or leaking it. The people around you, they're not neutral. They're either reinforcing your new identity or dragging you back to your old one. This is the part most people never audit. They fix their goals. They speak their affirmations. But they keep eating at tables where average is the menu. And they wonder why nothing sticks. Why the fire fades. Why the breakthrough fades into burnout. It's not because you're weak. It's because your atmosphere is infected. You cannot build a high-performance identity in a low-performance environment. You cannot rise with anchors on your ankles. You cannot elevate with people who worship comfort. Your growth threatens them. Your belief confronts their excuses. Your momentum exposes their stagnation. So they joke, they question, they subtly sabotage, not because they hate you, but because your transformation reminds them of their indecision. You must clean your environment like your future depends on it, because it does. This is not just energy, it's physics. Proximity has power. You sit next to a fire long enough, you catch the heat, you walk with the focused, you start thinking like them. But the same is true in reverse. Stay around the distracted, you drift. Surround yourself with complainers, you absorb victimhood. Talk to doubters all day, you begin to doubt yourself. Even silence carries weight. You could be in a room where no one speaks against you, but no one builds you either. That's not neutral, that's death by silence. So here's the standard. If it weakens your identity, it doesn't belong in your circle, not in your group chats, not in your DMs, not in your phone, not in your mind. You are not just choosing thoughts now, you are choosing alliances, and alliances determine altitude. Napoleon Hill called it the mastermind principle. Two or more aligned minds, locked on a vision, multiplying each other's power. It wasn't just theory, it was a law, a force that made weak men strong, a law that built fortunes, empires, revolutions. Think of Edison and Ford, not competitors, collaborators. Think of Schwab and Carnegie. They didn't just share business, they shared belief systems. That's what you need now, a circle of believers, not just people who clap, people who build, people who sharpen, people who expect the higher version of you to show up daily. Because if no one in your life is offended when you play small, you don't have a circle, you have an audience. And this season isn't for performance, it's for alignment. So ask yourself, who in your life pulls power out of you? Who speaks identity into you? Who corrects you with love and pushes you with force? And who drains you? Who doubts your calling? Who still talks to the version of you that no longer exists? Draw the line, not with bitterness, with clarity. You don't need to fight the old circle. You need to outgrow it. And when you do, you'll feel the shift. You'll feel less guilt about moving forward, less attachment to people who pause their growth, less interest in conversations that don't match your calling. Because when identity locks in, your taste changes. You won't crave gossip. You'll crave strategy. You won't look for sympathy. You'll look for solutions. That's the sign you're aligned. And that's how you know it's working. But don't just clean your contacts. Clean your atmosphere. Your room should speak power. Your phone should echo discipline. Your calendar should reflect your values. Your space should be a shrine to your future, not a museum of your past. Visuals matter. Words matter. Voices matter. Every input is either feeding your new identity or poisoning it. So start curating your world like your future sits in the balance, because it does. You don't just become who you are, you become what you're around. Energy is transferred, belief is transmitted, and doubt is viral. So protect your mental borders like a fortress. This is war, and the enemy is anything that makes you small, even small jokes, even subtle sarcasm, even friendly reminders of who you used to be. Say it out loud. That version of me is gone. That energy is not allowed. That access is revoked. You are not here to explain. You are here to expand. And expansion requires insulation from weak conversations, from low-frequency chatter, from people who love comfort more than they love growth. This is the filter now. If it doesn't challenge me, build me, or remind me of who I'm becoming, it doesn't stay. And the people who are aligned, keep them close. Honor them. Sharpen them. Invest in them. Because iron sharpens iron, and fire feeds fire. And the right mind in your circle can triple your speed. You were never meant to do this alone, but you were also never meant to carry dead weight. So build your mastermind circle. One aligned voice can drown out 100 doubters. One shared vision can multiply your momentum. One conversation with the right person can be worth more than a year of self-help books. Because sometimes the belief you're missing isn't yours, it's someone else's, on loan, until you're ready to walk in it fully. And that's okay. That's the beauty of alliance. That's the blessing of environment. So now, with clarity, with focus, with fire in your voice, say this out loud. I do not allow weak energy in my atmosphere. I do not lower myself to be understood. I do not entertain what contradicts my calling. You don't need everyone. You need the aligned ones. And once you find them, you protect them. You build with them. And together, you rise. Because in the presence of power, your future comes alive. You are not here to meet expectations. You're here to exceed them. Because excellence is not what you do, it's who you are. Mediocrity waits for orders. Greatness delivers beyond them. And legacy. Legacy is written by those who give more than they're asked for. You want to be unforgettable? Don't do what's required. Do what rewrites the standard. That's the law of over-delivery. And it's not a tactic, it's identity. The world trains you to ask, what's the least I can do to get by? But that question poisons your destiny. It teaches your mind to seek the bare minimum. And soon, your relationships shrink. Your income plateaus. Your vision suffocates. Why? Because you gave just enough to survive, instead of becoming someone who dominates. You don't get paid by the hour. You get paid by the value you bring to that hour. And the person who goes above owns the room. That was Charles Schwab. That was Andrew Carnegie. That was Henry Ford. Men who didn't just work hard, they delivered at such a high level. People had to notice. When Schwab worked for Carnegie, he wasn't just an employee. He thought like an owner. He saw problems others ignored. He led before he had the title. He gave more, not for applause, but because he couldn't operate any other way. That's how a man with no formal education became one of the highest paid executives in the world. Not because of diplomas, because of identity, because of over-delivery. The world will try to convince you to relax, to be realistic, to slow down and take it easy. But easy is the graveyard of the gifted. And if you don't rewire that programming, you'll start believing excellence is optional. You'll start confusing average with acceptable. Let me remind you of something deep. How you do anything is how you do everything. That's not motivation. That's mechanics. The habits you practice in private bleed into your results in public. If you cut corners when no one's watching, you'll fail when everyone's watching. And if you train your mind to ask, what do I get for this? You've already lost. Because the real ones never serve from outcome. They serve from identity. The world asks, how can I get more? But high performers ask, how can I give more than anyone expects? You must reprogram this question deep into your mind. What would a legend do here? Not, what's the easiest way? Not, what's good enough? But what would the highest version of me produce right now? And then you move from that. Over-delivery is not about exhaustion. It's about elevation. It's about rising to a level where the competition can't breathe your air. You're not just getting tasks done. You're making art out of execution. You're turning simple moments into unforgettable impressions. That's what makes you dangerous. That's what makes you inevitable. Detach from applause. Detach from reward. And lock into one truth. This is who I am. Because when excellence becomes your identity, success is just a matter of time. It stops being if and becomes when. You show up early because that's who you are. You follow through because that's who you are. You give more than you're paid for because you're building a reputation that can't be ignored. Ford didn't wait for the world to catch up. He built something the world had never seen, not because someone told him to, because visionaries don't ask for permission. They create new standards. And you're not just living, you're leading. You're carving a new level of normal with every action. But you must protect that identity from one virus: outcome addiction. If you only go hard when you're guaranteed applause, you've already capped your power. Detach. You don't over-deliver for claps. You over-deliver because you are a force, and forces don't ask for validation. They move the atmosphere. Repeat that until your bones believe it. I do not wait for rewards. I move from who I am. This is where true confidence is born. Not in titles, not in trophies, but in knowing I gave more than anyone expected, and I didn't need a reason. That's rare, and rare becomes royalty in this world. You walk into rooms with different posture when your standard is internal. You stop performing. You start producing. People ask, how are you so consistent? You respond, it's not effort, it's who I became. And that version of you, it doesn't flinch when results delay. It doesn't quit when things get quiet, because it wasn't built on praise. It was built on principle. Say this with authority now. I exceed expectations because it's who I am. I give more because I carry more. I serve from overflow, not obligation. This is not a motivational phrase. This is a daily standard. This is how you wake up. This is how you enter the room. This is how you leave your mark. You don't want to be remembered. You want to be unforgettable. And unforgettable is not born in the spotlight. It's born in the silent decision to go beyond when no one is watching. That's over-delivery. That's legacy. That's you. So lock it in. Say it with fire. I exceed expectations because it's who I am. Not sometimes. Not when it's easy. Every single day. And watch what happens next. You've spoken the words. You've shattered the limits. Now we lock it in. Because transformation is not a moment. It's a rhythm. And repetition is the sound of becoming. You want your new identity to hold. Don't just say it. Repeat it. Every single day. Not when it's convenient. Not when you feel like it. But until it becomes you. Because repetition is not for the mind. It's for the subconscious. And the subconscious doesn't respond to truth. It responds to consistency. You told it for years that you're average. You told it for years that you're tired. That you'll try someday. That you're not ready yet. Now it believes you. But that's over now. You are rewriting the script, and every sentence you speak is a stroke on the canvas of your identity. You don't ask for belief. You install it, like a new operating system, line by line, until the old one crashes under the weight of the new one. Say it, I don't hesitate. I build. I become. Again. I don't hesitate. I build. I become. Every time you speak it, you drive a new root into the soil of who you are. That's the ritual. Not to motivate, but to install. Not to hype, but to harden. Because this world doesn't give power. It responds to it. And when your identity is aligned, when your spirit is locked in, everything around you begins to shift. But here's the key. Most forget. You must act like it's done before it looks like it's done. You don't wait for the signs. You become the sign. Faith is not just believing. Faith is moving while it still looks impossible. You walk like the door is already open. You speak like the opportunity already knows your name. You move like the version you became is already watching you from the future, waiting for you to catch up. That's not delusion. That's the code of the uncommon. Common people wait for confirmation. Powerful people command it into existence. You've come too far to look for proof. You are the proof. You are the evidence of a new identity being born in real time. You are the echo of every decision you didn't back down from. You are the result of every no you turned into a watch me. Now you don't just repeat. You ritualize. Every morning, lock in. Speak your command. Rewire the first thoughts of the day. Before doubt can speak, interrupt it with truth. Before fear can whisper, speak fire. Before hesitation can breathe, act. That's the new rhythm. That's the new loop. You don't visit greatness. You live in it. You train it like muscle until your default setting is domination. You used to survive days. Now you own them. You used to scroll for inspiration. Now you move like the inspiration. You used to wait for the right moment. Now you command the moment to respond to you. This is spiritual now, because your identity has become your atmosphere. You walk into rooms different, not louder, stronger, not desperate, undeniable. And if they ask you what changed, you won't even need to explain, because the energy will speak, because the fruit will prove it, because the results will echo louder than any story you could ever tell. You don't need permission. You don't need validation. You don't need applause. You need alignment, and you've got it now. So here is your final ritual loop. Speak it like a war cry, like a promise sealed in fire. I act like it's done. I walk like it's already mine. I speak like the future responds to my voice. I build like heaven watches my hands. I move like doubt never met me. Repeat it until your nervous system believes it, until every cell in your body moves like this is non-negotiable, until there is no gap between your identity and your behavior. Because real transformation is not loud. It's locked in. It shows up in routines, not moods, in action, not feeling. And you are now a person of ritual, not reaction, a person of decision, not doubt, a person who executes, not explains. So let this be the final shift. You are no longer waiting. You are no longer becoming. You are arrived, and the world must now adjust. Let the world wonder what changed. Let them whisper. Let them guess. You don't owe them answers. You are the answer. You are the result of the test you passed when no one was watching. You are the manifestation of beliefs spoken when you felt nothing. You are the living proof that identity, not environment, creates destiny. Say it now. Say it with no fear, no doubt, no apology. I act like it's done. I walk like it's already mine. I don't ask for power. I command it. I don't chase outcomes. I anchor identity. I don't wait for the shift. I am the shift. Lock it in. Move different, and let the world adjust. You passed the test. Now walk like it.